pole's roll is the final challenge for Link as he makes his way to the second Gleeok we're going to fight in the game. When Link exits the staircase, he's going to want to place a bomb here in the northern part of the room to open up a bomb hole, and then make his way through the pole's voice, around the spiral, and out that newly formed hole. The reason we've named it the pole's roll is because you're going to actually be rolling your fingers so you're not wasting frames, taking advantage of the multi-directional input that we've discussed before. While there are 8 pole's voices start out in the room with Link, you only need to concern yourself with the southeast portion of the room as you make your way through. Let's take a look at proper movement, and then also take a look at what we can do with these pole's voice to help out in case Link is low on health before the Gleeok fight. We're going to start the analysis in the underground, and again, you want to just get through this as quickly as possible, taking out any keys that are in your way and leaving any keys that are not in your way. We don't want to be swinging at keys that aren't going to interfere with Link, because every time you swing, it stops your movement, and it just eats frames that you don't need to be wasting. In preparation for Link coming out of this stairway, you're going to see Link place a bomb north, and then use that timer of the bomb going off to make his way through the spiral, so there's no wasted time at the top of the screen waiting for that bomb to go off if you were to do that second in that list. So let's take a look at this. All right, so backing this up to this point here where Link exits the stairway, you're going to start on this tile, and you're going to see already with the visualizer, we're going to have 2 groups of bunnies. There's going to be 4 pole's voice that's going to be in each of one of these 2 stacks. And then you're going to place the bomb, and again, this green visualizer here shows you where Link needs to place the bomb in order to make this bomb hole open up. So what we can instantly see right now is whether you turn and not actually walk all the way up, but just turn Link and place a bomb, or if you walk up into this tile, both those bombs are going to go off. What's easier is walking up, placing the bomb, then walking left and back down. Is it quicker to just make that turn up and then turn left, turn back down, and get through without walking up? Yes, you're wasting a little bit of time. What we found, though, is that if you walk up into the block, walk left, walk down, and then get through the pole's voice down here, you're really only losing a frame or 2 from just this quick turn and then left, down, and right. The quick turn is faster, but it's only 1 or 2 frames faster, and at a risk of possibly messing up your input on the rest of the movement here, getting over this hook. So while it's faster just to make this very quick turn and put the bomb up, walking into this block is going to be safer, more consistent for you. And again, at only a cost of 1 or 2 frames, this safer play is the much more recommended strategy to start this room off. So let's advance this, and let's watch Link as he starts the movement, as he places the bomb, and then he comes down around this hook. And again, what you're going to see Link, and you're going to see the inputs do, is a quick up, place the bomb, and then immediately is going to press left and start using diagonal inputs to get around this hook. And again, this is called the pole's roll, because what you're going to do is you're actually going to roll your thumb on the controller. It's not just left, down, right. You're going to see multi-directional inputs here. And to give you a reminder on those, the newest input, when you're holding 2 down, the one that was pressed second is going to take precedence inside of a dungeon. So if you press left, and then you start to press down while you're holding left, as soon as Link is able to go down, you'll see Link turn, because that's the second input that was pressed there. So you're going to take advantage of rolling your thumb through this spiral, and you're not going to waste any frames with any wasted movement on any half tiles or going too far. And the danger here is that if you actually go too far left and then down, you can actually run into these pole's voice that are going to be coming north. So let's take a look at this initial movement again. So you see Link place the bomb. He's all the way up into this block, which again is the preferred, more consistent method instead of just a quick up. He's going to turn up, place the bomb. Then you're going to see left being held. And then you see right there, I mean, if we back this up to this frame, you see again the multi-directional here, the rolling of the thumb. It's not just left and then let off and press down. The second input here was down, and so what that's going to do is it's going to turn Link as soon as he can. And it's going to keep us clear of these pole's voice here. This pack will never get in your way as long as you do this initial movement right. So we don't have to worry about half of this room. These 4 bunnies will never, ever be a danger to us. So what you're going to see Link do now is he's going to start heading south. And again, the initial movement on the right Pole's voice, and this is what our eyes should be focused on, because these are not going to be our problem. Even if these were to bounce right, Link is going to get out of the way in time. So your eyes in this room, after you've set the bomb, should always be on these guys right here, because this movement should be automatic. This should be a multi-input movement that's going to automatically roll you around this hook here. So we're going to be pressing right here. You're going to see now as that bomb's exploding, which is what we want, you're going to see the Pole's voice now have a decision to make. And this is random. There's no targeting going on. The Pole's voice aren't targeting Link, anti-Link. None of that's in play. This is completely random that you can't control. But what your eyes should be focused on is not here. It should be focused on right here, because if the Pole's voice go right, then after we make our initial stab, we're going to have to wait for the Pole's voice to hop out of our way, which means you're going to have to pause here on this tile and let this Pole's voice get through. If you don't see any going right, then what you can do is just stab through and continue moving. So your eyes should be focused here, and you should be seeing if one or two of these are going to hop right. So in this example, as the 4 land, you see Link stab, and we see one starting to head right. So what Link's going to do is Link is going to pause right here, right before we get onto this tile, because what's going to happen is if we were to stab here, which is what we did, the iframes of the enemies only last half a second. So what's going to happen is as Link approaches this second tile, the iframe of this Pole's voice is going to wear off. And if Link were to try to make this turn right now without the pause, then Link was going to actually run into this guy, and you'll take damage from that guy. So if one of these Pole's voice were to go right, you've got to make the pause right here on this tile before proceeding north. So as soon as that Pole's voice clears, as soon as he gets into the right side of this spiral here, that's when you can continue your movement. And again, you see the multi-directional input. He's holding right, and now he's holding up. That's going to allow Link to go up as soon as he can here, with no wasted movement. And again, you're saying, okay, as soon as he can, there's only one tile of movement. Well, some wasted movement is walking into this block. If you're holding right too long, you're pressing up against this block and you're wasting frames, even though you're going the same direction as somebody who rolled their thumb here. That person's actually out ahead of you because he went up at the quickest and at the soonest time that he could inside that roll. So Link's now walking north. This Pole's voice here, he's in his second movement, in the middle of his second movement here. He's going to come back down off that bounce. He is never going to bother you either. Now you see him in that third, and you can actually walk right over that Pole's voice. The bomb hole's already opened up, and we are ready to go face Gleeok. So that's proper movement through the room when one of the Pole's voice goes right. If the Pole's voice doesn't go right, if he just stays in this pack, or if he comes back left, then this stab through is going to work. All you have to do is stab through and go. And we'll show you that here in a second. Okay, so this is a second example. The Pole's voice have done their initial movement. They've bounced up. Link is in the correct spot. He's going to start stabbing through. And again, his eyes are right here on this tile right here. If he sees one of the Pole's voice come into this tile, he knows he's going to have to make the stop. But the difference is the read this time is that the Pole's voice are going left and north. So if they're going left and north or one going south, there's nothing here. Link can just continue right on moving. There's no pause that's needed, and you can make your way to the bomb hole. It's actually going to be a slightly faster room because there's no pause. So that's your read there. There's only one of two options that can happen. You have a Pole's voice go right, you pause. If the Pole's voice does not, you continue walking just like Link did right there. And again, the ones up here in the north are not going to be an issue. Just walk straight through them and you'll be good to go. Okay, there is something else that you can do here inside this room. If you're a little low on health, let's say you've only got 3 or 4 hearts and you're not really comfortable with that amount going into the Gleeok fight, then what you can actually do is we can try to get random hearts off the 8 Pole's voice down here. Let's say we haven't set up our count to where we can get a fairy explosion, or we've got low counts, or maybe we took a bop in the keys trying to set that fairy explosion up, and you need a couple hearts, and we're trying to just rely on RNG for that. What you can do is place the bomb just like normal, and then you're going to come south, come back left, and then you're going to head right over top of this pack. These guys are going to line up very nicely for you. As you start to approach the pack, then what you're going to do is you're actually going to menu to arrows. And then after you've menued to arrows, you're going to shoot south, which is going to take out that pack. And then if you walk down to this half tile here, which is your proper movement anyway in this room. Again, you want to be on the half tile, never on the full tile here. If you walk down to this half tile here, After the initial movement of the Pulse Voice going north, they're going to be lined up for a shot to the right. So you can take out all 8 Pulse Voice with a shot down south and a shot to the right. And what you're hoping for is to pick up a couple of hearts. You're not going to get them always. You may get 1 heart, you may get 2, you may get none. But this could enable you to continue a run that was dangerously low on health heading into this last Gleeok fight. So there's the shot to the right. So let's take a look at that in full time. Let's see what it looks like as far as with the menus and everything. And then we'll take a look at one last option here after this one.
It would look like to do like this.
And the final thing I'll point out here too is you saw at the end of that clip, the runner actually shot the arrow to the left to pick up all the drops. So you don't have to wait here for the initial drops and look for, okay, is it a heart? Is it not a heart? That type of thing. You can continue your movement and let the drops resolve. Shoot to the right here, and then as you start making your movement north, we can shoot back left and pick up any of the drops. You don't have to wait. You've got arrows. Arrows pick up your items, so why waste the frames in waiting for those? So that was just proper movement inside the room post-combat as well. So the final scenario we're going to look at is, let's say we're low on health again, but now we built up a little bit of a count to where we have the possibility of getting to 16. Remember, all we have to do is be at 8 coming out of this room, and there's 8 Pulse Voice, which is going to give us 16, which is going to cause a fairy explosion because all of those drops are going to resolve at the same time on that second pack. So all we need to do is have a consecutive count, a fairy count of 4 coming down here into this underground, and we're going to switch over to arrows in the underground, kill these keys as fast as possible, and then you're already at arrows when you come back up, which means we're not going to plant the bomb. We're not going to switch the bomb and go back to arrows again. We're going to stay at arrows and plant the bomb last in this scenario. So let's take a look at this. You can see the proper movement. Again, it's going to look very similar to the last one. Only this time what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the fairies with the arrow and then plant the bomb at the end of it.
Let's go down here, stab. Get these arrows on once I see which way the bats are heading. Come over here, keep the arrows out so I can shoot these and switch.
All right, so let's break that down one last time. Again, what you saw here too, even in the underground, just proper pause buffering here. And pause buffering is something you want to get good at in this game, knowing when to do it and where to do it. And what we're doing here is we're actually reading the keys with the pause buffers. So the runner, what he sees is actually he's going to be able to take out this first keys with the sword. He doesn't have to switch to the arrows yet. He's going to take out the first keys with the sword. And then as he starts to see keys go south here, and again, he doesn't want to wait on these keys to come east here. He's low on health. He's only got 4 hearts, so there's no beams in play or anything like that. So that's when he makes the switch. After this read, he's going to continue his movement. He's going to make the switch right here.
Stab. Get these arrows on.
And only after he's seen the movement and he can see his optimal path and minimal time down here chasing these guys with the arrows, does he make that switch. So he didn't switch right here. He didn't say, okay, I need to go to arrows. I'm going to go to arrows up here and then just take them all out with all 4 with arrows. He actually uses the pause buffer to read the keys movement first before he decides on how he's going to play the basement here.
See which way the bats are heading. Come over here, keep the arrows out.
And the last thing here when we break this down is that after the arrow to the right, the fairies are going to be also clustered as well. So he's going to quickly get underneath the fairies and shoot north. So he doesn't switch to bombs. Okay, everything's killed now. He doesn't switch to bombs right here saying, okay, now we got to use bombs to get through the northern door because he's going to be chasing fairies all over the place and he wants to get as many of them as possible. And the best way to do that is just to get underneath the fairies, shoot north before they start their random movement. And now he's refilled his entire health going into the Gleeok fight. So the last thing to do in the room is to place the bomb inside the square here. So you can see your center line's right here. So you can go 1 full tile and another half. So 1.5 tiles right here. That's where he's going to place the bomb, get through just like normal. And now we got a full health fight with Gleeok. So if you're low on health, you've got a 4 count. You know you have a 4 count. Consider the fairy strategy. It's a very, very strong one. It's going to help your refill considerably. And it's going to help keep you safe in the Gleeok fight. So that's the Pulse roll. Again, it's a simple room in concept. All you have to do is get around the spiral, get north, place the bomb, and get through to Gleeok. But there's some optimal strategies that you can use. The reason we're using the term roll here is to remind you to roll your fingers around as you're making this movement. Use the Pole's voice if you need to help build a fairy count or to pick up a couple hearts using the arrow strats. Other than that, just get out of here as fast as possible and good luck on Goliath.